speak about closing cybersecurity skill gaps, but all I can think of right now is you having 5 lakhs in your account and sir having 20 to 40,000 in his account. That is what is going on in my mind. So that gives you a hint of how cyber criminals try to pick data from any and everywhere. Any conversation you are having in a cafe somewhere, somebody else is listening. So always be conscious about that. I'm sure the data that you've given us just a summary and not the actuals. So I don't have facts today. I don't have facts for you, but I have some experiences that I can share with you. My personal experiences as a cybersecurity consultant, not as a law enforcement or not as a victim, but as a trainer. This begins when in 2008, when I was doing my masters, I was probably the only guy in a class of 70 who had taken up the elective cryptography and network security. So the other 70 were focused on becoming software engineers. They wanted some paper which got them marks, good percentage, and that could put them in a good IT company. But probably I was the only one not aligned with that. But luckily, if you look at the market now, I almost interview like 300 people every year who aspire to get into the cybersecurity industry. So the skill requirements have grown enormously across the last 10, 15 years. It's not that cybercrime is new, it is not that the security industry is new. We've been talking about hackers since ages. I mean, I'm not sure how many of you have seen the movie called Hackers, Angelina Jolie, 1990s. It's pretty popular. So there's nothing new. There is no new concept of hacking, but it is just the innovative thinking of these cyber criminals who come up with new ways to break new technology, like honorable guests have already spoken about how UPI or other frauds are happening. So objective of a fraudster is always to exploit the existing system. It's always a chicken and egg game. Somebody's trying to fix it, somebody's trying to break it. So I have a personal experience as I was in a country which is known for these things. I'm not naming that country, but then I was training their bank employees. I was taking a workshop on cybersecurity, and it was really difficult for me to make their bank employees understand. This is like 10 years ago. It was very difficult for me for their bank's IT employees to make them understand, what would be the risk of not having security controls. But end of the day, when I was going back, my driver was actually discussing with me about the cybersecurity frauds. He has a part-time job where he goes home and then sends emails to people. So now you can guess which country am I talking about. So, and there have been a lot of cyber crimes that are happening. Some that don't involve any technology, some that involve like highest level of technology. We talk about malware like Stuxnet or all these targeted attacks that are happening on the governments, where specialized skill is required, specialized knowledge of not just the industrial systems, but specialized knowledge of security controls is also required. Do we actually say that there is a gap in security skills, in cybersecurity skills? Because you see how many attacks are happening right now. All these attackers have the knowledge of security controls, and that is how they're able to bypass. So should we say that we are lacking skills? Questionable, right? So my view is that it is not the lack of skill set; it is just that the direction in which the skill is being used. All these guys who are hackers, all these guys who write all this malware, they obviously have that skill. But then it is unfortunate that the skill is diverted in a wrong direction, where motivations are misleading. Obviously, everybody comes with a motivation into this industry. So if you're not motivated in the right direction, you will definitely be on the wrong side, right? So that is one case, and in fact, in the previous session, one of the panelists was talking about being in the power industry, right? So he started talking. He was talking about latest enhancements in the power industry and how new cyber threats have been coming up. Then, how many of you remember Die Hard 4? How many of you have seen the movie Die Hard 4? And you remember fire safety? So do you think it is a new thing for us? Do you think cybersecurity on critical infrastructure, are the attacks new? No, right? We've seen this even in movies. Take decades ago, not just now. So the primary difference or the primary gap that I see here is, the kind of education that individuals get in order to learn about cybersecurity. As an organization, when I now try to hire somebody for information security role, now I see information security roles in three different perspectives. For myself, I mean, when I hire people for my organization, when I provide services to customers, and as an individual in an organization. So there are three perspectives in which I see information security. For me as an individual, like sir already said, we have to have cyber hygiene and cyber discipline in place to protect myself as an individual, my own personal money. But then when I'm hiring somebody for a particular role in my organization, is that person aware of his roles and responsibility? Is he trained by the organization to, discharge his duties in a secure manner? Like Minister also told about certain examples of how certain people change from organization to organization and then they take data. But then as an organization, what is the awareness that I need to create in these employees, individual employees? What kind of NDAs or non-disclosure agreements and what kind of contractual agreement should be signed by each individual organization with those employees? So all that plays a critical part. So awareness is not just on an individual's point. Awareness is also required for an organization where standards like ISO 27000 are known, right? And when an organization, question here is, how do I hire or train people? Do I bring in people or do I bring up people? There is a difference. When I say bring in people, do I hire people with good skill sets into the organization? That is really expensive now. We call it certified but not skilled. Companies, when I go to customer, he says, first, I need people with certified ethical hacker, I need people with certified,
नहीं इधर से जाने की अलग चीज़ है, यहाँ पे लोगों को सुनाई दे रही है तुरंत
look for a certified guy or a skilled guy. I need a skilled guy, right? So certifications are definitely going to prove that you have a basic skill set. But how effective
वहाँ जा रही वहाँ नहीं जाएगी यहाँ पे
when people come to me, like I said, I interview around 300 people every year with different certifications. When you ask somebody,
पास है ये
get the certificate,
दोनों काम यहाँ पे आ रही वहाँ नहीं जा रही
what have you done outside the lab? I know the lab is intentionally vulnerable machine, right? The lab has created certification.
वहाँ जाके खड़े हुई
to be vulnerable. But then
यहाँ से नहीं
when
जा
you
रही
only practice on a vulnerable lab, you don't actually have the you can't just say you're skilled because you've broken a vulnerable system and you can't break lines. It's not practically possible. So what we have come up with, what Securize has come up with is we have to address these different gaps. We've come up with an end-to-end training program. Not certified. So here we start with the basics. Now the difficulty that we have in hiring people is, like I said, everybody wants to be a software engineer, everybody wants to be a pilot, everybody wants to be a police officer when we are kids, right? But when you come to your graduation, then you realize, well, this is not my cup of tea. Let me get into IT. Now, once you finish graduation, then you realize, no, IT nahi, let me get into cybersecurity because this is paying more. And there's a lot of talk happening. So then people realize that in the middle of their career that they want to switch to cybersecurity. So they learn certain tools and then they come into the cybersecurity. Problem is here when you are learning about the tools and how to exploit certain vulnerabilities with the tools, you are missing out the basics. You don't actually understand how the underlying infrastructure is built. You don't understand how the basic networks work, how basic applications are deployed. So a program is required where you teach people, right from the basics, how a network is built, how applications develop, how security is built. And then you also go ahead and tell them how governance aspects have to be created. Because it's not just enough to have a technology in place or trained person in place. You have people process on the kind of controls in place. So for us, how did we address this? We created a program that starts from the basics, talks about how systems are built, when all these three teams come together, government or the governing body, policymakers, the educators who design these training programs, the college institutions, uh, and the actual corporates who actually face these issues and who hire people from the educators, only when all of them come together and create a common framework and exchange knowledge, like this is what is happening here, right? Correct? We are exchanging knowledge from different perspectives. Probably this kind of initiative is what is required to fill that skill gap. Because when you see, there are a lot of surveys done in the market. There's one survey from probably ICS where it says 3.7 billion workforce shortage is there in the industry. 3.7 million cybersecurity workforce. Even if all of us listening to this, probably for the next 10 years, how many ever people listen to this recorded session, if all of them get into security also, will still fall short, right? So that opportunity is there. Everybody has an opportunity to get into cybersecurity, but obviously through the right tracks. So we have a four-dimensional view of cybersecurity skills as such. First being experience, how much experience do you have in cybersecurity or related fields. The second dimension being the verticals. Now we talk about cloud, we talk about blockchain. So every AI. So there are a lot of verticals where you can learn about cybersecurity. And then third is the expertise. It's not enough to just get into the vertical. It is about the level of expertise. Like I said, we get people with experience with the tool. Somebody can run a tool and give you a report. But then how much do they understand the internal aspects? How much can they help you evaluate the false positives? Because as a consultant, every control that I suggest, there's no firewall that comes for free. Every control comes with a cost. So the more experienced or effective solution, that is when organizations can actually reap benefit of it. And the fourth dimension, most critical dimension of cybersecurity skill is role-based trainings. Like we've seen a lot of discussions, right? Depending on every organization should have a plan to and to train individuals based on their roles. Everybody here doesn't have to come and attend a training session where you are taught about exploitation and how to break software and hack into accounts and all that. You have a different business to do. But then, as an individual, what is your role? What is your role as a cybersecurity in your business towards cybersecurity? Like periodic awareness campaigns have to be done in organizations where each individual is made aware of the latest frauds that are happening. If you're an IT administrator, what kind of skills do you additionally need? If you're a security person in the team, what kind of skills do you require? So all these, there is no one solution that fits all here. Unfortunately, I cannot tell you to go attend this particular course and become a security expert, right? So organizations have to come together, understand their requirements, create a plan for different levels of security skills that they need, and then perform that training individually. And that is when I think this skill gap will come down, when all four, government, educators, industry, and individuals, all of us come together and work towards a common objective of security.